All right, folks, Wolf Pup is ready to go. We're out on camping. We got all the mods done. We got all the solar installed. We got everything ready to go. Let's talk about how it's going. Stay tuned. Let's roll the intro. Come here. Out. Out. And we'll throw a stick. Hello friends, we are out and about. We're camping at Fort Hamby, Corps of Engineers, and we're up on the Blue Ridge Parkway, but it seems the Blue Ridge Parkway is closed. It's like a great place to be when it's closed. There's nobody else up here, but if you remember, so the parkway today is closed because they're replacing 3 different bridges on different parts of the parkway, up and down and all around. And but we're going, apparently Doughton Park, which is a campground and restaurant and a recreation area, is still available. You can reach that. That's between the bridges and on one entrance to the parkway. You know, the parkway is limited access, so it's pretty funny when it says you can't get there. So we are up here, I think it's October 2nd. Still a beautiful area, but you can tell there's no color change on any of the trees in North Carolina yet as of October 1st. There's a few plants that are changing, dying out, but the crabgrass in my yard's dying a little bit because the heat's gone. But for the mountains, it's still a little early. We'll see if there's any less haze on the north side. That's the south side of the parkway. Well, I haven't found the north side to be as far away. But, you know, the hills just continue to grow. Way out there, you can see the tower is way up on top. Sorry, it's shaky when I'm zoomed out all the way. Just the beautiful Blue Ridge Parkway. The amount of work they had to put in to make this road, it's just impressive. And the beautiful scenery you see as you drive down it. Well, the parkway is closed for the most part. It's got access to some things, so we thought we'd enjoy the lack of people on the trails and the roads, and we would hike some trails. It's a nice trail. It's pretty. I always love these individual hardwoods that are living in amongst all the pine trees. You hear the nuthatch? So, crossroads of the trail, Mountain to Sea Trail, continues that way. I don't know if we want to go that way. It says the campground's 1.5 miles. So, that might be a good way to go. Go to the campground and then we'll hike the road back. For nearly 60 years, Martin and Carolyn Brinegar lived on this 125-acre farm, leading lives of hard work, self-sufficiency, and abiding religious faith. Descendants of their 3 children often come here to visit the home place. This is the spring house, and Keela says the spring is really good. The water runs through the spring house and out the other side and down the mountain. And that's a spring. It's just coming out of the side of the hill. And they used to use it as their refrigeration since they had no electricity up here. And nobody was going to deliver ice way up here. So they had to carry water and food up to the cabin, which is up there on the top of the hill. It's quite a little climb. This National Park Service has put in stairs. I don't know if there were stairs here before, but these are pretty modern. But this is the Brinegar's spring house and cabin, and they were farmers and hill people that lived here and grew flax and had sheep. But this is a house this man would make shoes for his neighbors. And they had a huge fireplace. He built this cabin. He built this cabin for his 4 children and his wife, and that was their pantry. Stored much of their food. They raised in this building. The upper level was granary for corn and buckwheat, and they hung herbs to dry after they butchered their hogs. They cured the meat with salt and kept it in a meat box in here. The lower level is a root cellar down underneath, where they kept fruits and vegetables, canned goods. They stored potatoes, cabbage, onions, apples, and other produce they harvested from the garden or the wild forest. And maintained, kind of authentic, by the Friends of the Parkway volunteer group. There's a little climbing around to do if you're going to enjoy this area. But that's the Parkway right up there. And like I say, there's lots of kiosks. It's the Brinegar cabin. Well, there's the south side of the Parkway. No, is that the north side? That's the north side of the Parkway. It is a little clearer. A little more mountains you can see out there in the distance. You know, on the one side, they're putting new pavement down. And on the other side, they've got the original gutters that are just stones that have been placed in a depression to run the water. And, you know, that works nearly 100 years later, still looks in good shape. Nobody will see you. Couple of little fawns in the trees. This is last time we were here, the mother was hoofing and jumping at Aquila because we were too close to her fawns. Now they're the fawns, they're a little bigger now. Hello folks. We are back here at Fort Hamby, Corps of Engineers Campground on W. Keir Scott Lake in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. It's at the foothills of the Appalachians. It's about maybe 12 miles, maybe 8 miles to the Ridge Parkway. And it's a really nice area. You can do about 60 miles of the Ridge Parkway and still only be about 8 miles away, because it goes right around the northern part of the county. But we went up there today and found out that 60 miles of the Blue Ridge Parkway is closed because they're rebuilding 2 bridges and repaving a whole bunch of it. So the parts that are narrow, they repave it by closing it down. The parts that are wider and newer, they allow 1 lane, so they will let traffic pass back and forth. But this is the shakedown test of the what is that thing? Of the Wolf Pup. I've had all the work done on it. You've probably seen way early in the year I did the axles, bearings, springs, tires, all that stuff, and I took it on a little trip up here just to make sure it handled good on the roads, and it handles pretty good. This time I've got solar, new fans, new bedding, new cabinets. It's all loaded with food. The fridge is running on propane. The water systems, I'm hooked up to water, which I hardly ever do, but we're using the tanks and we're testing everything out to see how it works. So we're here for 2 nights, 3 days. And the nice thing about this park is they let you stay until 3 o'clock. And I came at noon on Monday, and because it's Monday, most people leave Sunday. There was somebody on my site, but he was leaving at 11, so he was getting out by 12:30. When I got here, I stopped and said hi. And it's a nice park. It's got nice sights, and it's just an hour from my house. So one of the things I do is I come up here and see what I need, and then if I need anything, I run home, which I did have to do yesterday for 2 reasons. For one, I was getting a package that just suddenly showed up, and so I saw that on my security cameras. And for 2, I forgot some stuff, some cups and some coffee and other things that I just don't usually even think about. So I had to run back. So it's a really nice place to come and shake down the camper. It's on a beautiful lake. There's some viewers that stopped by, and they've been out kayaking and fishing, and they've caught some huge bass, and they're trying to catch stripers. They say there's stripers in the lake, they understand. So we got real good weather. As you can tell, the sun's coming out and blinding me, and the Wolf Pup's showing up in the back. We are having a tough time with stink bugs. The stink bugs are just absolutely crazy. There were 75 of them on the trailer yesterday, and I think there's only 20 of them on there today, but we're having fun, little stink bug tennis. Since this is my first RV with a bathroom in it, we're testing the bathroom too, and I'm learning some stuff. I'm not testing the shower. I don't plan on using the shower until I get a modified door for it. I want a regular door and not a curtain. My experience with curtains is they always leak. Let me show you what we did today and some of the other things that are happening, and maybe I'll go and introduce you to the viewers. They have a YouTube channel, and it's mostly fishing, and they did a rehab on a trailer. They did a complete tear apart and put back together, and it's a pretty impressive video. If you want to see that, I'll put that in the description below. But it's I think it's the name of their channel, I think, is Mountain Man Escapes. But all right, so we have been to 2 campsites already. We started at Fort Hamby, which is an hour from my house, and it's a real nice place to hook it up, see how everything works. You'll have that on here. And now we're at Cave Mountain, one of my favorite places in the whole world. And this is totally primitive. We're trying out the solar and how much electricity it eats in a 2-day period on a weekend, and because usually I go primitive 2 or 3 days, and that's all. And we'll see what 2 days takes, and that'll see how long the solar will really last. The way I've got it hooked up. One of the things I want to tell you about, though, is I have done a lot of work on this. I've taken out a little stuff, but I've put in dividers, I've put in drawers, I've put in all the gear for camping. I've got the water tank 1/3 full, the black tank's 1/3 full, fresh water, or the gray water tank is, I don't know. But black water, the black tank really should be 1/3 full when you use it the first time, because you don't want that mess going down and just going plop in the bottom of the tank, because if there's no water down there, it'll just harden up and turn into the poop pyramid, which is pretty famous. But so the black tank has to have water in it when you start. So when we come to a place like this, we have to have it semi-filled with water because I can't fill it from the freshwater tank because then I'll empty the freshwater tank. So I had it all set up. I've got 300 amp hours of lithium battery in it. I've got all the lithium controllers and circuit breakers and fuses and all that stuff. I've got, you know, electric heaters in case it gets cold. I've got all my gear. I've got warm weather gear, cold weather gear. I got, you know, all the sleeping stuff, cooking stuff. It's full with food for a week. And so I think it's at its absolute maximum weight. And I have a scale at home that can be used to measure up to 2,000 pounds. So I measured the tongue with that scale, and that gave me a weight of around 550. I had full water, it was 590, and I let half the water out and it went down to 570, and I let a little more water and it got to 550 on just the tongue. I don't want the 4Runner pulling more than about 600 pounds on its tail, especially with Aquila jumping around back there and stuff like that. It just raises the front up so the headlights are looking for wildlife in the trees. The Wolf Pup is listed as being 3,400 pounds. And then it's got 700 pounds of cargo that you can put in it. So I took it to a cat scale, and if you have a camper, you should do this. You get it going and then find a cat scale at some truck stop or some Love's gas station or someplace. These are all over the place. It's $13 to drive on the scale. The scales are set up in 3 portions, three sections, 3 pads. You can put your car on one pad, or you can put just the front of your car on one pad and the back of your car on another pad, and then the trailer on the 3rd pad. And if the trailer's, you know, you can even unhook from the car and leave the trailer all by itself on one pad, and then get the weight of the car. And then you get your gross weight of your vehicle, you know, all the total weight that it's pulling and doing. You get the weight of the trailer. The only thing you don't get is the tongue weight, unless you unhook and then put the tongue on one pad and the trailer wheels on another pad. And I have my own scale for the tongue, so I don't worry about that. I put the trailer wheels on a separate pad and weight it. But from the cat scale, as we left the house, it's only a mile from my house, so the weight of the trailer was 3,480 pounds, that's like the dry weight when it leaves the factory. I don't understand why it's so light. We did, you know, brakes, wheels, we put new tires, we redid the axles, we did stairs, we did all this stuff. I'm really surprised it weighs so little. And the 4Runner is 5,800 pounds, so the total weight is 9,280. That's a little more than the gross vehicle weight on the 4Runner, but not too bad. The gross vehicle weight on the 4Runner is 78, I think, and it can pull 5,000. So I'm assuming that 9,000 is pretty good. Especially we're pulling 34, and the truck only weighs 58 out of a gross vehicle weight of 72 or 74, somewhere in there. But that is with the Wolf Pup. This is with the Aliner. And believe it or not, my Aliner, the tongue weight on the Aliner is 260 pounds. And the trailer weight with the tongue on the truck is 2,100. So the total trailer weight would be that 250 pounds plus the 2,100. So that Aliner is pretty heavy. And again, it's got all that stuff in it that I carry camping, and it has full water. Because it's only got a 10-gallon tank, I don't think it's a big deal. It offsets the weight of the water the water offsets the weight of the tongue. And so it balances out. And this is, you know, this is all about weight and balance. You know, the wheels are like the middle of a teeter-totter. So you got to balance it. So you got 10 to 15% on the tongue holding onto the car, and then the rest is on the axles. The axle, the wheels on this are way in the back. They're pulled way in the back, so it's hard to get the tongue so it's light. But obviously, if the trailer weighs 3480, it's a lot of weight on the axles, just not enough on the back to lift up the front. But I don't know that you can do that. That's like, it's like, I don't know, 12 foot in the front and 4 foot in the back. So, you know, have to have the toilet full. The black tank full, but that's the point, is the black tank and the gray tank are behind the axles. So if they were full, it would probably weigh a lot less on the tongue and probably not handle quite as well. But $13, it's well worth it. All you got to do is drive on. There's a little button on a pole you push and say, I'm weighing my trailer, and they'll say, okay, come on in, we got it. And you go into the diesel desk where the truckers go, and they'll give you a printout, which is really nice. That's the beginning of the trailer. Let's go into some of the other things that we do and what we have found on this trip. As Akila and I finish up our dinner, I guess I should kind of discuss some of the differences between the Aliner and the Wolf Pup. The first difference is that I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but in the Aliner, if I was at a crowded campground and I woke up in the night from drinking too much, I would kind of grin and bear it. Or maybe walk to the bathroom. In a close campground, like I was at Fort Hamby, it was a little hard to just walk out and use a tree because I might have... So I have these comforts that I think I could get used to. The other thing is that it's got a sink. The Aliner had a sink and had a good water source. The faucet leaked when you were done with it. When you folded the faucet came up like this, and when you folded it down like this, all the water that was in the faucet leaked out into the sink as you were traveling. So whatever was in the sink was usually wet when I got home. This sink is about this deep. I think I could take a bath in the sink. It's a beautiful big sink. Because it's got a sink, and because it's got a lot of water, and it's got a lot of hot water, I feel the urge to do dishes and wash my hands frequently. It's so there's those things that with the Aliner I never needed. I mean, when I did dishes in the Aliner, I had a little tub that I'd put hot water from my tea kettle in, and some suds, and I'd, you know, wash things up that were really dirty. I usually use paper plates. I'm still using paper plates, but for some reason I'm having the urge to clean the silverware or the plasticware and the cups and stuff, which usually in the Aliner I would just rinse out and wipe out with a paper towel. The thing this doesn't have is it doesn't have all the windows the Aliner has. And the Aliner is pretty nice. My Aliner is pretty nice because it has really nice curtains. They're very thick, fluffy, insulated curtains. So when I plug down all the curtains and put them down, they're very insulating and warm, and they're private and all that stuff. So I kind of like the Aliner curtains. This has 2 windows on the front, little tiny windows. They're about this big. One's at the foot of my bed and one's over the kitchen sink, and 2 big windows on the other side. They're about this big. And then there's one third window way down at the bottom of the bunk, which is kind of useless. There also is no window in the door, which is kind of obnoxious. I'm going to put a peephole in the door just in case But so anyways, those are some of the differences I've noticed to date on the Wolf Pup. If you have any questions, please leave them for me. There's a lot of neat things about the Wolf Pup. One of the things it has, you know, I never cooked in the A-liner because I was afraid of getting grease and humidity and everything inside the A-liner, and it just had a humidity problem from the beginning. But the Wolf Pup has a exhaust fan that exhausts right outside, and it's really got a pretty powerful little fan. So I'm gonna try, when I get my son with me, we're gonna try cooking inside. I did actually bring the A-liner stove with me, and when I get to our campground, I will show you how I use that with the Wolf Pup to cook outside, because I like cooking outside. And I have some products that I think you'll be excited with, and you can see if you like them. Anyways, I'm going to cut this section off. We may have more. We're going to go for a big hike tomorrow. I'll let you listen to me breathing heavy and having heart attacks climbing this mountain. We've got a big mountain called Wildcat Mountain we want to climb, and that's the activity for tomorrow. So thanks for sticking with me through this boring part of the Wolf Pup, and we will see you on the trail in a minute. Well, folks, as we sit in the camper waiting for the fog to lift so we can go hiking, and I've done kind of a review on this campground 2 or 3 times. I've been here a lot. It's one of my favorite campgrounds to stop at on the way north or east, because it's about 3.5 hours from my house if the traffic's good. If the traffic's bad, it'd be 5 hours from my house, which frequently it is. But this is Cave Mountain Lake Campground. It's a National Forest Service campground, so if you have the U.S. pass, you get half price plus the reservation fee. And I've never given my opinions of the campsites here, and I'll tell you, there's no best campsite here. They're all pretty equal. I've taken out the ones that I thought were a flood risk because they're so close to this stream. So I've taken out the ones that are too short and the ones that are unlevel. But from my opinion, and it's just my opinion, it's not God's law or anything like that, but my picks are number 6, number 11, number 15, 16, 17, and 18, number 22, 23, 24, and 27. I think those are the best sites. They're the biggest, the flattest, the most privacy, but pretty much everything is pretty good. And I give you those on this campground because it used to be first come, first serve. You couldn't reserve it. It wasn't on Reserve America. Now it's on Reserve America, and you can't come, first serve. And there's no cell service here. So if you come to the campground, find a site you like, you have to drive 10 miles back to town, back to Interstate 81 almost, to get cell service. So it's nice to know what the good campsites are before you make the reservation. So those are my picks. There's also 41 and 42 are way up on the far end, and they're pretty nice, but that's a double site. That's 2 sites in one. So you have to pay for a double site, which again, if you got the pass, you're still only paying for 1 site. And they do have a little flush toilet right across the street from them, so they're a long way from the shower house, but they're up there, privacy and everything. It's really a nice setup. The other campsite that I loved with the A-liner, because I could back the A-liner up this hill into this one site, is site 35, which is way up at the top of a driveway, and it's all by itself, and it's right next to a bathroom with flush toilets. And you got lots of privacy, and there's a little tiny stream that trickles right next to it, and it was great to be up there. 2 times I've been there. And like I said, I got the Aliner up there, but it wasn't easy. You have to be a real good backer-upper. And it's a fairly straight driveway getting up there, but getting in the driveway is a little pain in the butt. But anyways, that's my choice for Cave Mountain Lake Campground. And as soon as the fog lifts, we're going to go hiking, and we'll take you along. Hopefully we can get cell service on the top of the road, because it's Thursday and my videos come out and I like to answer comments. Alright, stay tuned. We'll be right back.